Hello everyone, and welcome back to the JD Tomlin YouTube channel, discovering and documenting the history of Northampton and Northamptonshire. Back once again in the west of the county to explore a lesser known gem, or should I say a forgotten relic, of the Victorian railway boom, the Weedon to Leamington Spa branch line. It spanned rural Northamptonshire and Warwickshire, and this single track route connected sleepy market towns like Daventry to the bustling main lines at Weedon and Leamington. But its story is one of ambition, struggle, and eventual decline. Join me as we journey through its history from construction to closure. In the early 19th century, the Industrial Revolution was transforming Britain, and railways were at the heart of it. The London and Birmingham Railway, which later became part of the West Coast Main Line, opened in the 1830s, but it bypassed Daventry, routing instead through Weedon to the east. Local businessmen in Daventry weren't happy about being left off the map, and in 1861 they formed the Daventry Railway Company to build a branch from Weedon, but the plan fizzled out due to the lack of funds. Fast forward slightly to the 1880s, and the London and North Western Railway, or LNWR, saw the potential in connecting Daventry to their network. They obtained parliamentary powers in 1885 to build a 4-mile branch line from Weedon to Daventry. This initial section opened on March the 1st, 1888, bringing rail access to Daventry at last. But the LNWR had a bigger plan in mind, and in 1890 they secured approval for a 14-mile extension to the north to link the track to Marton Junction, where it would link up with their existing Rugby to Leamington Spa line. This extension opened on August the 1st, 1895, completing what became known as the Weedon to Marton Junction line, or more broadly, the Weedon to Leamington line, or even more broadly, Daventry to Leamington line. The line was built on a budget as a single track rural branch with passing loops at most stations to allow trains to cross. It featured steep gradients, up to 1 in 80, especially near Daventry, which made operations challenging for the steam locomotives. The route wound through picturesque countryside, passing under the Great Central Main Line at Wolfhampcote, without any connection to the line, which was possibly a missed opportunity there. Stations along the way included Weedon, which was obviously the junction with the main line, Daventry, Braunston, Flecknoe, Napton and Stockton, and Southam and Long Itchington. From Marton Junction, trains continued to Leamington Spa, although not the current Leamington Spa station. It was actually Leamington Spa Avenue station, which isn't there anymore. And then they would sometimes go on to Warwick or even to Nuneaton. So you could get a direct train from Daventry to Nuneaton. Operations kicked off modestly, with about 4 passenger trains each way per day between Weedon and Leamington, plus extra shuttles to Daventry. By the 1920s and 30s, the service had ramped up to around 11 trains daily, some extending to Northampton via reversal at Blisworth. Freight was equally important. The line served local agriculture and industry, shoemaking and what have you. But a key customer was the cement works near Southam, which provided a steady traffic in limestone and finished products. At Weedon there was a busy goods depot that came under attack from German bombers during World War II. The war years brought cuts to services, and post-war, with the rise of buses and private cars, passenger numbers never fully recovered. The line passed to the London, Midland and Scottish Railway in 1923, and then to British Railways in 1948 when all of the railways were nationalised. But the writing was on the wall. The decline began in earnest in the 1950s. Flecknoe station, the most isolated on the line and about 1.5 miles from the village it served, closed to passengers on November the 3rd, 1952, and to freight in October 1956. All passenger services on the branch ceased on September the 15th, 1958, leaving locals to rely on buses, something that's continued ever since. Freight hung on a few years longer, thanks to the Southam cement works, but the line was closed as a through route in December 1963. Tracks between Weedon and Southam were lifted in 1964. Today, the Weedon to Leamington Spa line is a ghost of its former self. The tracks are gone, but traces remain. The embankments, cuttings and disused bridges dot the landscape. Parts of the trackbed have found new life as walking and cycling paths. There's even been talk recently of reopening a station at Weedon as a sort of a Daventry Parkway station to serve the nearby communities. And certainly, I think if they'd have foreseen the amount of growth in Daventry, which is now one of the largest towns in the country without a rail network, they perhaps would have maintained the trackbed a little longer than they did. But that's with the benefit of hindsight, of course. But yep, you can still see the cuttings and the bridges, and they stand as really as a sort of silent monument to Victorian engineering. And the Weedon to Leamington Spa Branch may have been a minor player in Britain's railway saga, but it embodies the era's spirit, connecting rural communities, fueling industry, and ultimately succumbing to progress. If you've got stories or photos from this line, please do share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.